People gasped when the scarred girl stood up, but no one expected who would take her hand, or what song would play next that would shatter a billionaire's pride and heal a heart the world had written off. Daniel Reyes was just a waiter, a single father juggling 3 jobs to raise his 8-year-old son, Leo, ever since his wife had passed away. He was 38, Latino, lean, with short black hair, a light stubble, and warm brown eyes. Every gesture he made carried care and respect, yet beneath it, a quiet nervousness lingered. Tonight he worked in a glittering ballroom, polished floors reflecting crystal chandeliers, golden light bouncing off silk gowns and expensive shoes. The event was hosted by Victor Blackwell, a billionaire known for power, control, and perfection, especially when it came to his family. Most guests ignored the young woman seated quietly at the edge of the room. That was Eleanor Blackwell, 24 years old, her once celebrated beauty marked by scars from a devastating fire 2 years ago. Since the accident, Victor had kept her hidden from public view, ashamed of what the world might say, and more so of what he felt himself. Eleanor watched the dance floor silently, hands folded, eyes downcast whenever someone glanced her way. Daniel noticed her because she reminded him of Leo when he had first returned to school after losing his mother, small, tentative, bracing for rejection. As he refilled glasses near her table, the band began playing an old, gentle melody. Daniel recognized it instantly. It was the same song he used to hum while cooking dinner with his late wife, the song he danced in their tiny kitchen when life was simple and love was enough. Eleanor's fingers twitched, eyes glistening, and Daniel paused. He saw the vulnerability and the longing in her expression. Waiters weren't supposed to disturb guests, especially not the billionaire's daughter, yet something inside him urged him forward. He set the tray down and leaned slightly, speaking softly. "Would you like to dance?" The room seemed to freeze. Eleanor looked up, startled, her scars fully visible in the warm golden light. Whispers rippled across the crowd. Victor Blackwell, across the room, tensed visibly, his jaw tightening in anger. Eleanor hesitated. Years of being hidden and silenced had taught her caution, but Daniel's gaze was steady and kind. Slowly, she placed her hand in his. As they stepped onto the dance floor, the murmurs quieted into astonished silence. Daniel guided her gently, careful, respectful, as if the world wasn't watching. For the first time in years, Eleanor felt seen, not as a mistake, not as a burden, but as a person worthy of joy. The melody carried through the ballroom, and Daniel spoke softly as they moved. He told her about Leo, about how he used to hide behind Daniel when strangers came too close, how music helped him feel brave again. Eleanor listened, surprised by how natural and honest it felt to speak to someone who didn't pity her. The song shifted into its chorus, and Daniel hummed along. The same song her mother used to play on Sunday mornings before life became heavy and tragic. Tears filled Eleanor's eyes, and Daniel slowed their steps, whispering, "You're safe. You don't have to be perfect to be here." She didn't stop dancing. Instead, a slow smile began to appear, fragile but real, as if each step reclaimed a part of herself the fire had tried to take. Victor Blackwell watched, his chest tightening. He had always controlled markets, people, and everything around him. Yet here was his daughter, dancing freely with a man he considered beneath her status. His pride burned with fury and shame. Eleanor's scars were a reminder of the fire, yes, but more painfully, a reminder of years he had failed her, not shielding her from the world, but hiding her from it. He began to move toward the bandstand to stop the music, but the final line of the song played. A lyric abo cold distance he had perfected. Instead, she saw hesitation, tears threatening, a father realizing the truth he had long avoided. Daniel and Eleanor stopped dancing, the room holding its collective breath. Victor's pride, so carefully polished over decades, cracked in front of everyone. Then, slowly he applauded. The room followed, not for wealth or status, but for courage. Victor approached Daniel and Eleanor, voice thick with emotion. "I was wrong," he said, not to the crowd, but to his daughter. "I tried to protect you by hiding you, when all you needed was to be loved out loud." Eleanor collapsed into his arms, years of loneliness and fear dissolving in an embrace she had longed for. Daniel stepped back, ready to vanish again into the background, but Victor stopped him. "What's your name?" "Daniel," he replied quietly. Victor nodded, gratitude and humility in his eyes. "You reminded me who my daughter is, and who I failed to be." Weeks later, Daniel returned to the Blackwell estate, not as a waiter, but as a guest. Victor had established a foundation in Eleanor's name, funding burn recovery programs and emotional support for survivors. Eleanor attended events openly, scars visible, confidence blossoming. Daniel, ever humble, asked only for help securing Leo's future. Victor provided full support, ensuring education, housing, and stability for the boy, while Daniel continued teaching Leo lessons of dignity and resilience. On a quiet evening, Daniel danced with Leo in their small apartment to the same song. That night, a message came from Eleanor. I danced today, and I didn't hide." Daniel smiled, knowing that sometimes the smallest acts, a song, a dance, a moment of kindness, can change lives forever. Every glance across a ballroom, every whispered compliment, every hand extended in compassion can ripple farther than the richest person's money. In the end, Daniel didn't need wealth, and Eleanor didn't need perfection. What they needed was a human heart that saw theirs. And for once, that heart was finally present in the same room, in the same song, and in the same dance. Every guest would remember that night, not for the chandeliers, the crystal glasses, or the glittering gowns, but for the courage, vulnerability, and unexpected kindness that changed everything.